A concerned citizen's quick action brings neglected animals to safety. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Last Friday, First News brought you the disturbing pictures of 5 seriously malnourished horses in Grayson County. Today, there's good news to report. Michelle Roush has been following the story. She joins us with more. Michelle?
Craig, as you said, Friday we told you that it would take some time to get the horses away from their owner. Animal Control said today would be the earliest an investigation into neglect could get underway. Then, if their condition warranted it, a court order could be drawn to seize the animals. Sherman resident Janine Clark knew there wasn't time to wait till today and got to work over the weekend. Clark joined forces with the Grayson County Humane Society. The two called Sheriff Jack Driscoll Saturday and said the animals were in dire shape. Driscoll sent a deputy out to the property and after seeing the animals issued a warrant for their seizure, only after he refused to voluntarily turn the animals over. Now the horses have a new home, even though he maintains he was taking care of the animals. He says they were simply suffering from snake bites. Those who have examined the horses say otherwise.
The neighbors that we talked to were just disgusted at the condition of the horses and the other animals that he has on his property. They said that they have all called numerous agencies trying to get help and that no one has come to help them. They also sadly told us that 2 horses that were on the property have already died.
The animals are being cared for at an undisclosed location in the county until a decision is made about the case. The Humane Society has contacted the county attorney's office to discuss what legal action can be taken against them.
Well, Michelle, you mentioned that the animals are being taken care of now. Has a veterinarian been able to examine these animals?
Yes, they have been through a thorough examination. All of them, as we said, are seriously malnourished and have severe cases of lice. One has a broken leg, which the vet says may have been in that condition up to 4 months. At this point, it's beyond setting and has caused strain on the other leg. Vet bills are expected to get high as the Humane Society cares for the animals as well as nurses them back to health. And Craig, this story has struck a nerve with a lot of people in the community wanting to help out. Right now, the Humane Society is needing donations of alfalfa hay to help get them back to health. But as for homes right now, they really need to wait and sit tight until they decide what court action will be taken with animals.
Okay, and of course we look forward to more on the story coming up at First News at 6. Thanks, Michelle. 5 seriously malnourished horses in Grayson County are being nursed back to health after a concerned resident intervenes. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Friday, First News brought you the troubling pictures of 5 horses left on a small piece of barren land without food and water.
After one concerned resident saw the animals, she decided to stop at nothing to get them to safety. She succeeded, but as Michelle Roush reports, now the attention is turning to getting the animals back on their feet while keeping them from returning to their owner.
This was the scene Friday. 5 horses wasting away in the hot summer heat. No water, no food, and all in need of medical attention. But that all changed Saturday. A Grayson County Sheriff's deputy went to property with a court order in hand and seized the animals. From there, they were taken to this property where they're being looked after, fed, and tended with medical care.
A major difference. When we got them out here about 10 o'clock on Saturday night, and as soon as they were off those trailers and in this pen, there was a little bit of grass. You know, we can't give them a whole lot at first. They've got to be basically retrained to eat. The little grass that was in here, they immediately started eating. They were nickering at each other. You know, they just seemed to get some life in them that they didn't have there. It was almost like they knew that they were somewhere where they were going to be okay.
Was reportedly not cooperative when the warrant was issued, maintaining he cared for the animals. He told the Humane Society their poor condition was caused by snake bites. Those who have seen the animals disagree, saying it's a classic case of neglect.
Very bad. Very bad. That's why we seize them. Usually you can talk to an owner of an animal and they will comply or give them up. He didn't want to. He didn't seem to think that he was doing anything wrong.
The case has been reported to the Grayson County Attorney's Office and charges against Beckham could be pursued. For the time being, the focus is getting the animals back on their feet and making sure they get a good home. But that ultimately rests with the court.
We would like to be sure he doesn't get the horses back, and there's still a chance he could. There's a hearing next week. Could be some loophole or something. He could get the horses back. We don't want that to happen under any circumstances.
Animal lovers say there's at least one lesson to learn from this case. If you can't care for your animals, don't have them. Michelle Roush, First News, Grayson County.
are transported to safety. Grayson County deputies and the Humane Society sees the animals who are malnourished and struggling to stay alive. And concerned residents in Sherman joined forces with the Grayson County Humane Society to do whatever it takes to make sure 5 neglected horses aren't returned to their owner. Good evening, and thanks for joining us.
We first told you about the starving horses Friday. The animals were left without food and water in a small area largely made up of dirt.
After hitting many roadblocks, one Sherman woman succeeded in getting the animals removed from their destructive environment.
Michelle Roush reports.
Just 3 days ago, these horses were struggling to get a hold of any food. The field they were penned in was nothing but dirt and sprouts of weeds. But Saturday night, help arrived. Janine Clark, with the help of the Grayson County Humane Society, called Sheriff Jack Driscoll and reported the apparent neglect. He, in turn, called a judge who issued a seizure warrant. Now the horses are in a safe place being cared for.
A major difference. When we got them out here about 10 o'clock on Saturday night, and as soon as they were off those trailers and in this pen, there was a little bit of grass. You know, we can't give them a whole lot at first. They've got to be basically retrained to eat. The little grass that was in here, they immediately started eating. They were nickering at each other. You know, they just seemed to get some life in them that they didn't have there. It was almost like they knew that they were somewhere where they were going to be okay.
A cruelty investigator with the Humane Society was present during the seizure. She says the owner claimed he was taking care of the horses. However, they were suffering from snake bites, according to him. After examining the horses, she says it's a classic case of neglect.
That's why we seize them. Usually you can talk to an owner of an animal and they will comply or give them up. He didn't want to. He didn't seem to think that he was doing anything wrong.
For the time being, the animals will remain at their new home where they're receiving medical attention. All of them have lice and one is suffering from a broken leg, something which likely occurred months ago. The abuse case has been turned over to the county attorney's office and charges could be filed down the road. But for the time being, the focus is on nursing the animals back to health.
What we would like to see happen is the horses given to the Humane Society and the Humane Society be allowed to adopt them out because they can follow up on them and make sure that they've got good homes. If they go to public auction, it's very likely they're going to end up with another man like this or even possibly with a dog food company.
These animal lovers say that's something they'll do anything to keep from happening. Michelle Roush, First News, Grayson County.